So I'm just waiting for our speaker. Oh, she's back. Okay, so it is my privilege this evening to introduce our guest speaker for today's Namahasha program, Her Grace Ganga-Mata Goswamini Dasi. A huge round of applause to her. So many of you all may know Ganga-Mata because she does attend our Namahasha, she does come for many programs. And Mataji is a typical case of still waters run deep, because she's always very quiet, but there's so much to her amazing personality. Mataji first came into contact with devotees in 2015, where she was studying fine arts at Stellenbosch University. And when she finished her degree, she went to Poland and India, where she joined the devotees. And thereafter, when she came back to South Africa, she's been living in many different temples all over South Africa. And now she's an educator at Northwood Boys High, and she's also started the Hindu Studies Association as a preaching project. Mataji has many services that she offers and renders. That includes her pujari service, her deity painting, and university preaching. She continues with book distribution as well. That's one of her most prominent services that she renders. And I know Mataji does excellent in her book distribution. She also teaches Shastra and Mridanga for the youth in South Africa under the Bhakti Vedanta College. And she also assists with children's Srimad Bhagavatam classes under the Mayapur Institute. Isn't that absolutely amazing? So we all welcome you, Ganga-Mata, because we know that you have an abundance of knowledge that you will share with us this evening. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shall we sing Jai Radha Madhava?
Yeah.
Ready? Jai Radha Madhava, Kunja Vihara. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shakasayam Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Devati Swadatikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Taparakalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanshcha Shri Rupam Sahajatam Sahagama Raghunatam Pitam Tam Sajivam Sarvetam Sarvadutam Vijaya Saivam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Shri Shakam Tamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhinavadi Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwakani Sriti Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Sri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Jai. First of all, thank you so much for the youth, for the beautiful singing. That was really wonderful. Let's just give them a round of applause. And next, after singing, I hope to see you sitting here giving us your wonderful classes. And welcome also to all of you who are coming for the first time, and to those of you who have been coming for a long time. And I would also like to especially welcome my mother, Gail. So I thought about beginning by talking about Sridham Mayapur. Since I'm coming from Sridham Mayapur, just a few weeks ago I was there. It's a very sacred place. And actually, Lord Nityananda, who is a very exalted personality, explains how Sridham Mayapur, of all places in the world, is one of the most sacred places because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared there himself. Who is Lord Chaitanya? Krishna and Radha. So he's Krishna, he's the Lord himself, but he's wondering, Krishna, he is the Lord, but he's wondering, what is it like to be my devotee? Because actually the devotee of the Lord, he's experiencing even more bliss than the Lord himself. The Lord is always blissful, but the devotee is experiencing even more bliss. The devotee is experiencing even more joy in being able to serve the Lord. But if he is the Lord, he cannot experience that. So he thought, let me appear as my devotee so I can get that experience. And who is the greatest devotee? Srimati Radharani, who is the most confidential servant of the Lord, the highest devotee of all time, Srimati Radharani, the feminine counterpart of the Lord. So Krishna decides that he wants to experience that mood of Srimati Radharani in service, and therefore he appears as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sridham Mayapur. And in Sridham Mayapur, there is a place that you can go and see where he actually appeared. There's a tree, a beautiful tree, and there's a temple around the tree, and it's worship. It is worshipable. The whole Dham is a worshipable place. And it's specifically significant also because of all the predictions that have come about over time. Lord Nityananda, he predicted that there would be a temple built in Mayapur, and once it is built, then service to Lord Chaitanya will spread all over the world. And we are living in such a time that actually we get to see that temple being built. So there is a temple there, and they're building another temple, and that is the temple that is fulfilling the prediction. And we can see that it's got the biggest dome in the world. It's huge. And in the dome, the whole 5th and 6th canto is depicted. That shows the cosmic manifestation and everything. The whole of Srimad Bhagavatam everything is depicted in there. So if all the leading scientists and philosophers of the world and anyone who goes there sees this and they're convinced, and they have to be convinced because it's you cannot dispute what is being shown. It's perfectly accurate. Everything is given in detail. If they accepted that, the leaders of society, then everyone else will naturally follow. And that's explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, that if the leaders of the world accept something Krishna conscious, then naturally the rest of the world, they will follow from that. So from this temple, this philosophy, this Vedic culture will spread all over the world. And I got a chance to go and see this temple, and it's almost finished. It's so close to being completed. So they said by next year they'll actually open the temple. And another thing is that about 100 years ago, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is one of our acharyas, before there was a temple built, before there were devotees there, it was a rural place. He looked across the landscape and he gestured and said that there would be people coming from all over the world, from Japan, from America, from South Africa, from all over the world. People will come and they will chant and dance together. Everyone will come together, and there will be one spirit of wanting to serve the Lord together. And there will be a temple there, he said. He explained that there will be a beautiful temple. And now we are seeing all of that becoming true. He also predicted that there would be a personality who would be able to actually bring people like this to the Dham. And again, we got to see this. We're getting to see that Srila Prabhupada actually traveled around the world and was able to bring so many people together. And remember, this prediction was made during a time when it seemed like an impossible idea that people in the West would actually accept Krishna consciousness. It seemed like something that couldn't happen because nobody knew here, no one knew in the Western world. And yet Srila Prabhupada did actually travel and bring people from all around the world. And now we see in Mayapur, when I was there were people from all around the world there. So if you want to live there ever, it's good to speak Bengali and Russian too, because there are a lot of Russians in the town. And there's a mood in the town that you won't see anywhere else. And it has spread also, that mood. But when you go there, you'll see, for example, how everyone just knows about Krishna, whoever he may be. Even the taxi driver, the bus driver, whoever they are, everyone knows, yes, Krishna is there. There's no question, they will know about him. And there's this sweet mood of culture and respect towards him, towards the demigods. And like, for example, I would go sometimes in the morning to buy coconuts, fresh coconut from one devotee, and when he received money from me, he didn't just throw it into the till. He actually respected that as the energy of the Lord, as Lakshmi Devi. He put it to his forehead and respected it. And I felt that was very sweet, and that was something I had never seen before. I had never seen someone honor and respect in such a way, and that mood is coming to us as well. It's coming around the world. So when you go to Mayapur, you'll see that there are these beautiful deities, one of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he's so tall, just as he was in real life. He was very tall, beautiful golden limbs, and the whole Panchatattva, all of his associates, they're all there. And then there's an altar for Radha Madhava, Srimati Radharani and Krishna, and all the gopis are there. And then there's another little temple for Nishingadev. And I thought to speak a little bit more about Lord Nishingadev because he has reciprocated in so many ways with so many devotees, and I just wanted to share a little bit about him. So when ISKCON had first arrived in the Dham, it was a very rural setting, and these dacoits came to destroy the temple. So then Atmatakva Prabhu, he had a dream about this very fierce, ferocious form of the Lord. And after he did research, he realized that it's Nishingadev. It's Ukra Nishinga, angry Nishingadev. And then he thought, why don't we install this deity in our temple so that he will protect our temple? And then they went to a deity willer outside of Mayapur, and they asked him. And then he asked his spiritual master, and his spiritual master said, no way, you cannot install such a deity. Why would you carve such a deity? When you're approaching the Lord, you want to be able to approach him, and usually you're approaching with something, but how can you approach someone who is this angry? So Ukranashinga, he's half man, half lion. He's the most ferocious, angry form of the Lord, in the mood of protecting his devotee. That's a very angry form, so you cannot approach such a form of Nishingadev. And so he said, no, you shouldn't carve this deity. And usually this deity will be found in very isolated places on the mountaintops, not worshipped as such, but respected. And then after doing some further research, they saw that actually, if this deity is in the Dham, he will accept the mood of the presiding deity of the Dham. And the presiding deity of Mayapur is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what is his mood? Love. So much mercy, so much compassion. So this was going to be the mood of Lord Nishingadev. So then the deity wallet agreed, and he said, okay, it will take me about 6 months to carve Lord Nishingadev, but first I must find a living stone. So there's a whole parampara of deity wallets. They study Shastra, they study scripture, they understand exactly how the deity should be carved, what kind of stone should be used. So it should be a stone with a hole through the middle with certain tracks on it, and it makes certain sounds when you tap it in certain places. It's a science, actually, as well as an art and a meditation. He would stand for many, many days, not even carving, but just meditating on the form that he wanted to carve, and then he would begin. And once he had completed, he left Nishingadev for just a few hours once he was finished, and then he received a call, and they would say, oh, sir, your workshop is burnt down. So he goes to his workshop and he just sees the smoke, and then out of the smoke he sees Nishingadev with the smoke coming out of his nostrils, and he looks so scary. And then he calls the devotees and he says, okay, your deity is already burnt down, my whole workshop, just fetch him now and take him to the Dham where he can be peaceful. So then the devotees came to fetch him. And as they were traveling past all the security were thinking, what's inside? What have you got? Okay, just go. It's Nishingadev, let them through. And then now he is there in Mayapur, in the mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And once there was an artist in Mayapur, she was a teacher, and she had a very bad problem with her eyes, that she couldn't see sometimes. She became blinded. And she was thinking, I can't do my service. And she went to Lord Nishingadev and she was praying. She was saying, Nishingadev, I need to do my service, but I cannot see you. And then she received this message, this voice in her heart, in her mind that said, just give me my old eyes back. I'll be pleased if you can give me my old eyes back. And she thought, I'm not sure what that is, or if I should take that seriously. But then again, she got the same voice. So she went to the Pujari, who takes care of the deity, and she was asking about this. She was saying, maybe we should check his eyes. And they checked her, and they saw, okay, she's sane. She seems to know what she's talking about. And then they also researched that they had changed Lord Nishingadev's eyes. And then they didn't just immediately change them. They meditated on Nishingadev. They were praying about this, should they change the eyes, this is important. And then they also got some reciprocation, and they could understand that he didn't like those eyes, that he just didn't like them. So they changed the eyes on a specific day, and on that day, she went home and she told him, well, they changed Lord Nishingadev's eyes today, and my eyes are fine. And from that day onwards, she had no problem with her eyes. They were completely fine. Another time, there was a devotee who lived far away from Sridhar Mayapur, but he really wanted to study Shastra, scripture, in the Dham. So he traveled to Mayapur with great difficulty, and he was finally there, ready to study, and he got this really bad skin disease, and it was contagious. And he was so disappointed that now he had to stay away from all of the devotees who were there. He couldn't study with them. So he went to Narasimha one day and he was praying, Narasimha, please, I want to be here in the Dham and study with the devotees. And then he went home and he bathed, and all of the skin disease washed away. And that's not medically possible. That's what Narasimha is medicine. And then there was another time when there was an elderly lady and she had a lot of sickness in her body, and she was standing in front of the Shingadev, and for a long time she had this sickness, and she was standing in front of him and praying, and as she was praying, she felt better and better and better until she was fine completely. So this can happen, and sometimes we think we're reading about all of these miracles and we're thinking that today can it happen, but it's happening. It's happening every day. It's not just happening in the Dham, it's happening here too. It happens all around the world. It's possible. There's so many examples. There was another time the Brajari who takes care of Narasimha, he was very scared of him because he is scary looking. He has these sharp claws and these teeth. And as he was locking up the temple, he heard this loud crashing sound, or loud sound, and it was very scary, and he didn't know what it was. And he was trying to figure it out, but he didn't know what happened. So he locked up the temple and he went to rest. And he was sleeping on a bunk bed, and he felt the bed moving, and he thought maybe his friend was waking up, so he looked down, and his friend wasn't moving. And then he looked at his feet, and the Shingadev, he was there. And he got such a fright, and he didn't know what to do. And the Shingadev said, don't worry, don't be scared. And then he came and touched his shoulders, and he said, I just want to tell you that you don't have to be scared of me. And I just want to tell you also that don't shine the lights in my eyes. When you wake me up, don't shine the light in my eyes. That's all I want to tell you. Then he left, easily. But obviously the Brajari was not peaceful. He got up and he was running around screaming, and everyone is wondering, what happened to you? And then they saw the marks of the Shingadev, and he still had them for a few years. But the Shingadev came to him, and then he could understand that the Shingadev was actually coming and speaking to him. So the Lord, He's actually reciprocating with us. He's trying to reciprocate with us in our own way also all the time. Srila Prabhupada, when he was just a young boy, his father said, Lord Vishnu, he has 4 arms and he's giving so much mercy with all of these arms, and you just have 2 little hands. How are you going to accept all that mercy? And it is actually just the case that when we are grateful for what we are receiving, naturally we'll be a recipient of even more, because whatever we're receiving, we will be maximizing that. And what are we receiving? If I give you a nice present, what's your favorite sweet? You don't like sweet? Oh, that's very good. Okay, what's your favorite toy?
I like building puzzles.
Okay, so what if I give you the most beautiful puzzle you've ever seen, and I give it to you with a lot of love, and I see that you build it every day, and you're so excited to build the puzzle, and it makes you happy, I will also feel happy, right? I'll see, wow, she appreciates what I gave her. Maybe I should give her another puzzle, and she will appreciate it more and more. So this is what we have with Krishna. He's giving us mercy, and when He sees that we're accepting that, and we're enthusiastic to accept that, He will give us even more and more and more mercy. And we're living in such a time which is actually very rare because Krishna and Lord Chaitanya, they only appear once in a day of Lord Brahma, and that means once every 4,320,000,000 years. Once. In all of that time, they come. And Krishna, he appeared just 5,000 years ago, just over 5,000 years ago. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just over 500 years ago. That's not a long time. And then Srila Prabhupada, he was preaching and sharing this mercy just over about 50 years ago. So this time that we're living in is so special, it's so significant. When I was in Poland on the festival tour with Indra Maharaj, we would go on Harinam for 5 hours every single day, and then we would have the whole festival with different tents, and we would have kirtan, and it was really amazing. And then on one day, Indra Maharaj came with us on the Harinam, and he pointed to the sky at this white flock of birds, and he said, "You see those birds? Those are actually the demigods, and they have come to see the Harinam Sankirtan that we have." And that day, I was distributing books on the beach, and the Harinam party was quite far, and it's Poland, I had no idea where I was. I thought, I can't get lost here, because if I do, that's it, I don't know how I'll get back. So I had to keep up with them, but as I was walking along the beach and trying to run to catch up, my body hit a wall physically. I couldn't move anymore, I just stopped. And I couldn't move, so I didn't know what to do. And then at that moment, this white flock of birds just flew past me. And then I just remembered what he said, and I felt inspired to carry on and catch up. But the demigods, they're actually praying to come here, in Kali Yuga. They're praying to come here. They're praying. It's in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. They performed so many pious activities to get to where they are now. Swargaloka, Tapaloka, everything's very, very nice. But they're thinking, we forget about Krishna, it's so nice, we forget. But look, people on earth, they must have done even more than we have. So many more pious activities to get to where they are. Look at them. Look at what they get. So we are very fortunate. They are praying to come here. Kali Yuga, the Yuga we are in, the time we're in, it's described as being a very degraded age. And yet, we're living a time in that age which is most auspicious. We get the most mercy. We're so fortunate. We don't even know how fortunate we are, but we are so, so fortunate. And when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was walking once in Mayapur, and his disciple was following behind secretly, just following his spiritual master to see where he was going. Then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he passed these very tall, effulgent personalities. They were singing and chanting and dancing very, very beautifully, very melodiously. And they paid obeisances to him, they embraced him, and then they left. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur turned around to his disciple and he said, "Those are the demigods from the higher planets, and they came to see the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." So they are here actually, they're coming because this place that we're in is actually very, 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 very significant at this time, where Lord Chaitanya was not very far away. He appeared there. And it was predicted that once that temple is built, they're all over the world. It's just a matter of time. It's already happening. And Indra Maharaj said on the tour when I was there, that this is just the sunrise of the Sankirtan movement, of Lord Chaitanya's movement. We're seeing only the sunrise. But what will happen when the sun actually rises? It's completely blissful, and we get to see that. We get to actually see that. And in our own lives also, we can think about moments of reciprocation that we have had. So maybe let's just take a moment to close our eyes. Everyone can close our eyes. And just for a moment, hold that appreciation in your hearts. We will have some appreciation in our hearts. Think about those moments where you really felt the reciprocation of the Lord. Think about how much He has given to you. Think about those moments of miracles, those moments of magic, those experiences which you hold dear, which you'll never forget. And I want us to chant the Maha Mantra, but this time I want us to really feel that appreciation while we're chanting. So you can hear me chant and then you can repeat after me. Hear the Maha Mantra. Let that vibration come from your heart and chant the Maha Mantra with all that appreciation that you're having in your heart. So repeat after me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama. Rama Rama.
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare. Prabhupada ji.
So we should try and chant like that all the time, because this movement, it's something dynamic, it's something sweet and wonderful. It's not at all dry, but it's also up to us to really engage with what we're being given. We're being given everything. What are we being given? Lord Chaitanya, Krishna, He's giving Himself to us. That's what He's giving. Through the Maha Mantra, when we are chanting, we're associating with Him. He's giving Himself to us. And when we really appreciate and value what we are being given, and we actually chant with feeling, there's no way we will not experience great reciprocation. And we may experience moments of it and not be able to contain it, but eventually, when those anarthas, those unwanted things which are in the heart, which make the holes in the container of the heart, once those are washed away, washed clean, then we can actually contain that appreciation and in a lasting way. We can contain that natural love for Krishna in a lasting way. And many of those moments you may want to keep to yourself. They're moments which are perhaps a secret to you, a mystery to you. But if anyone would like to share some of your moments, one of your moments where you felt that the Lord really reciprocated with you, to inspire the rest of us, I'd really like to ask that now some of you can share some of that with us, if you're inspired.
Hare Krishna. So, Ganga-Mata is speaking about Lord Narasimha, and I think I resonate with it. I'd like to share something. We may not know about it because it's a bit of a sensitive topic, but actually Lord Narasimha has manifested Himself in Durban, and it's not too far away from here. When I saw the picture, I understood because of institutional sensitivity, we should not go there. But the one night, actually it was in the morning, I remember it was a Saturday morning, I had this dream. And in this dream, Lord Narasimha is telling me, Rasaraj, I'm here. When are you coming to see me? So that's how I am. My guru named me Rasaraj, means one of the king of all relationships. So I don't have any enemies. I also don't have any friends. Yeah. So I had the conviction and I went. So when I got there, I was quite surprised. We offered some fruits. And then I began to think of my Guru there and his conditions of health. And I prayed to Lord Narasimha, you are here, you manifested. Please, if there's any benediction, can you please give the benediction to my guru? So unbeknownst to me, at that moment, I started to shout and scream. You know, something happened in my body which I could never understand. And I fainted. I actually fainted for a moment. I fell down. The few devotees were around me and what's going on? And I get up and I can't do it again, but I know you want me to do it again. So, yeah, Lord Narasimha is there. And I'm talking about something on a softer note, but on a more deeper note. I want to advise the devotees to be very, very careful. Because when a guru gives you instructions, you follow that. And I'm quite embarrassed to say this today. My guru had warned me with something. And I took heed of it, but at the same time, I let it be. So, once again, Lord Narasimha has entered our lives and protected us. So in the past 24 hours, you may not know this, but we had a housebreaking, a burglary. And Ravanath was bound, gagged, attacked, taken to a particular spot, tied to a tree, and coincidentally, you may know who they are. I'm not going to mention who they are because they do come. But Lord Narasimha is there. What I want to put on is that at that moment when this was taking place, I told my manager, I have to go now. What are you doing? I have to go now. I left everything. I get into the vehicle. And unbeknownst to me, just as this is taking place, by then Ravanath had released himself and managed to get to a phone and send a message to the CPF. And so, as I'm leaving, that Mataji was explaining about the birds. So there is this sensitivity, there is Chaitanya Guru. Never ever feel that Lord Narasimha is not going to protect the devotees. So with that, I'd like to offer my humble obeisances to all the devotees. And my son may not have been here today had it not been for Lord Narasimha and for Krishna. So I think that's fine, Mataji. Safety is crucial. We should not, like Mataji mentioned, she was somewhere, she was walking in Poland, and she never knew what to happen. So Prabhupada did advise we should be in a seek devotee safety, move around with two people, etc. And the other thing I just want to conclude on is sometimes we have a voice, it tells us something and we refuse to listen. I'm being honest about it. So I had a premonition. Lord Narasimha told me something, but rather not as a teenager. In Afrikaans, pa and sien sometimes is alien. So I had the premonition, I felt it, I knew it, but I didn't tell. What I told him is rather not, when they come, please lock the gate. Don't allow them in. Tell them that Dad is very angry. They will come to work on the weekend. Meanwhile, they were planning what needed to happen. Alright. So, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Jaratam Sivanavakam Nirishimam Vishnam Badravakam Jaya Singha Sri Singha Jaya Singha Pradhamukha Padma Bringa Shugra Narasimha Bhagwan ki Om Premanande.
Thank you, respectfully. I'm sorry that's happened to you. Would anyone else like to share anything? Subhadra Prabhu, you should be giving class. Would you like to say anything?
So once upon a time, I think my voice everybody can hear.
Very good.
Let's project it all the way to the back.
Hare Krishna, Pranam and Dandavat to everybody here, all the devotees. So once upon a time, I was preaching anyway. So after preaching, I was in the car. We have the van. So me and the children and my husband, we all arrived in the so-called small apartment, which is like a jhopri, for our residents, which was given by some devotees. So we came there and we were, I was cooking and feeding to all the Vaishnavas and all the residents there. And then after that, the guards there, they told me, Mataji, you must go inside, just go inside It's not safe here, and that is the only jungle. That area was only one building, and all around surrounded, all is a farm, which you can't see, pitch dark. So we finished eat and everything, put the DTs to rest, and I went inside. Children were sleeping, we were sleeping, and then after some time, my husband heard the noise, Maharaji, Maharaji, open the door, open the door. So my husband, because there was no, what's called the doors on the window, just the bugler bars. So the guys, they were standing there and they have the mask on, full mask on, and my driver was there, and the driver, they were standing behind the driver, and they are telling, the driver is telling, Maharaji, open the door, open the door. My husband was from here, my second marriage was from the South African. So he know about the South Africa because, everybody know the crime here, how bad the crime is. So when he realized that this is not the right people, this is not the citizens here, those are coming to hear the lecture, or Srimad Bhagavatam, this is somebody else. He quickly realized and he quickly turned inside and he told me, there is a ropes here, and take the small children, the three of them, take them inside quickly. So I have my bangles, so I don't want they have to hear. But from the window they can see the DTs only. The DTs are sitting there, and from the window they're pointing the torch, they can see the DTs. But we have the small partition in the room divider, we were other side. I took the babies, all of them in the bathroom side. But luckily they have only steel doors, not like the wooden door, is a totally steel, thick steel doors. So there was a two door, what is called L shape, just like one this side and one this side in the corner. Now these people, they tried to pick up, lift the door. And in the, what is called the chickeny ledge, which is in the center of the door. So they tried to pick up, but what I have in my hand, Narasimha. So I have a Narasimha in my right hand, and with the left hand, I am pushing the door like this. Like this. I don't know from where the strength was coming. They could not lift the door. What is that name? Is called the long things which are crowbar. They have that. They have a full weapons. They have everything. What they did, they broke the lights of the van. They took the speaker out. They took all the Krishna art. All the big pictures of the mandala. All the Radharani picture, Krishna's picture, all was there. They were trying to take everything on the roadside. They going to the river side, and police caught them. What happened that time? There was the mobile phone came that time in India. So my husband, he said, no, we have to take the mobile here. We are traveling, we must take. I said, no, this is too expensive. I don't want these things. But he took it. When they caught the driver, he was sleeping in another room. When they caught the driver, they asked him if these people have the phone. He said no. But my husband had the phone. When he told me to take the babies inside, I covered the mouth of these three children. They were sleeping. I took them there. I took all my bangles out one by one so they can't hear anything. No chum chum noise. I took them. As soon as I took them, not even 2 minutes, believe or not believe, because I was holding the door, right? When he told me he already phoned, police is coming, just come here. I said, but they will open. He said, just come here, because we were just talking sign language. As soon as I left the door and I went to that door, in the same moment they lift the door up, because there was no Narasimha there. Until I have the Narasimha in my hand, I don't know from where the strength came, they could not lift the door. At the same time, the police arrived and they chased them, and I think they killed them after some time. They was all killed. And all the things that they brought it back, whatever the tulsi malas were lying everywhere and all these books, they brought everything back. Actually, all the rogues, they left all their weapons there. So we got more things from there. Anything. So this is such a wow moment for us there. And recently, which is a very, very good news and the bad news, I have that, I have the 7 chihuahuas in the house. And I have one chihuahua, she was a female, her name was a princess. She had a cancer. And doctors, they wanted to put her off. And I don't allow that kind of things because I'm not murderer. So I brought her back from the hospital and she was okay, I was massaging, I was doing all the taking care of things. When the last moment came, that was the 16th of December, that was Ekadashi. No, Ekadashi. That was an Ekadashi, right? So, 16th December, when she's leaving body, because I put the tulsi for her, maybe the people they won't like, they say why the dog is wearing the tulsi, but all are soul. We are all part and parcel of Godhead. If the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can liberate the dog, and even the people, they worship the Bhairav Baba. So why we can't take care of them and give them the prasadam and give them the love and affection and bring them to the Lord so they can also hear and chant. So when she was leaving the body, you believe or you don't believe, she vowed for the Narasimha. She was, because Krishna Priya was holding the Narasimha like this in front of her eyes, and she said, Princess, don't worry, you are going to the Narasimha, all your pain is going to be over. Narasimha is taking care of you. Narasimha is here. And she was looking at the Narasimha like this while she is taking last breath. And she did, how the lion, they do the face like a roaring, like this. She looked at Narasimha and then she left. And that is a dog body. Where there is a Chaitanya, you can say, what they know, they don't understand. But she was with the Narasimha there. So this is the second incident. Thank you so much to listen from me.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak? Okay. Shall we go to your question? Why is there so much emphasis on chanting the Hare Krishna mantra? Okay. So there are different yugas, which are time periods that the material world exists. There's Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And in all the different yugas, all the different time periods, there are certain prescribed methods for self-realization, for coming closer to the Lord. And in Kali Yuga, which is the age that we are in, we don't have the lifespan, the qualities, the skills to be able to do what they did in the other yugas. They could live off of water for thousands of years. They could meditate very deeply for thousands of years. We can barely meditate for a few seconds without the mind just becoming distracted. And definitely we can't live off of water for even 100 years, which is our lifespan. So we don't have what they had in terms of qualities, in terms of skills or physical ability. So it's described as being a degraded age, Kali Yuga. It's an age of quarrel, hypocrisy. But there's one benediction that even if we just chant the Maha Mantra, which is what we have been chanting, then easily we can achieve self-realization. And that's also why the demigods wanted to come here in Kali Yuga. They're thinking, in all of the other yugas we had to do so much to go back to the spiritual world, to go back to Krishna, to do that. But in Kali Yuga, it's very simple. It's kept very simple for us. Actually, in all of the yugas, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is chanted, but specifically in Kali Yuga, this is the focal point, because this is all we have, and it's all we need. It's described, and my Guru Maharaj likes to quote this a lot, in the 6th canto of Bhagavatam, chapter 3, in the introduction, in the last line, that even if a person is chronically sinful and they chant the Maha Mantra imperfectly, they will not take birth again in the material world. So even if a person is chronically sinful, if they're chanting the Maha Mantra, we don't want to be chronically sinful, and not that any of us are. We're not chronically sinful, we're trying. So what to speak of anyone who's trying to chant the Maha Mantra, not just not taking birth in the material world, but taking birth in the spiritual world. And that is possible for all of us if we are sincere, if we are serious and sincere and we're chanting the Maha Mantra. The Maha Mantra is the Lord Himself. Maha means great. It's the greatest mantra. This is the mantra which is actually not different from the Lord. So when we are chanting the Maha Mantra, we're associating directly with the Lord, and we're able to connect with Him. And in the beginning, we may not have taste. We may be chanting, and we may not experience reciprocation in the beginning. But if we keep going, we will start to see how this process of chanting is very dynamic, very live, and we will receive realizations. We will be able to connect on a deeper level with the Maha Mantra. And this is the way that we actually make spiritual progress and eventually realize who we really are in relation to Krishna. And we'll go back to the spiritual world and return to our ever blissful experience of loving the Lord eternally. I hope that answers the question. There's so much to say in glorification of the holy name that I couldn't possibly even try to fulfill something close to actually glorifying it enough, but that's okay. How do we think about Krishna constantly throughout our day while we do our normal tasks or activities? So what Nectar Devotion explains to us, which is based on the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami, is that we want to try to always remember Krishna and never forget Him, and everything else will come from that. But as we go about our day, how do we actually do that? We have to think about so many things. Children, work, the house, the car. So many things are always on our minds. How do we remain in constant meditation on the Lord throughout all of that? If we chant very, very attentively, then that will naturally lead to remembrance of the Lord. Chanting attentively and reading and understanding who Krishna is. We can't love someone we don't know. So once we start understanding who Krishna is, naturally we'll love Him. He's lovable. He's just so lovable, we can't not love Him. And as we are chanting, eventually we'll be able to remember Him. Not artificially, but that will come. First we try to chant attentively. And as we understand who Krishna is, we hear about Him, we can remember Him while we are chanting. And that remembrance will be carried throughout the rest of our day. Not artificially, but it will happen. And Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj said there's only 3 rules while chanting actually. Well, the first one is chant attentively, and the second one is chant attentively, and the third one is yes, that's it. And from there, chanting attentively, then naturally we will start to remember gradually as time goes, and then that remembrance will be carried throughout the rest of the day. Even while we are doing other things, we will be thinking about Krishna. Associating with the devotees will give us everything else. So being with people who are always remembering the Lord will help us also, because we will become like them. And we'll be able to see how they're going throughout the day, and whatever they're looking at, whatever they're doing, they're thinking of the Lord. There are also udipans, like how Mother Yashoda, when she sees a pair of shoes of Krishna's, she doesn't just see the pair of shoes, she sees Krishna. This is my baby's shoes. This is Krishna's shoes. She's thinking about him all the time. When she's washing the floor, she's thinking, I'm washing this for Krishna, and is he okay? He's out there with the cows. I hope his feet are okay. He's standing on all the hard rocks. She's thinking about him all the time. She's always thinking about him. So we're not on that level. But throughout our day also, we can think about how everything we are doing, it's not separate from the Lord. We make it separate, but it's never separate. Nothing can ever be separate from Him. And all we have to do is just acknowledge that. Whatever we're doing, it's from Him, and we're offering it to Him. Nothing is separate from Him. Nothing is ours. Even our career, our children, the floor of our house, everything comes from Him. And acknowledging that and offering it in His service, naturally we'll think about Him. We're washing the floor of His temple. We are going to work to pay for His temple, for our children who are also His, belonging to Him. He's given them to us. Everything belongs to Him. Everything we're doing, everything we have can be given to Him. Then everything becomes a service. Everything becomes an offering. If we have a mansion, it is His mansion. It's not ours. If we have a shack, fine, it's His shack. Whatever it may be, big or small, everything is His anyway. So we can always remember that. And the udipans are there. Again, we can't artificially do this, but eventually it could come to a point, for example, when we do see a pair of shoes and we think, oh, I wonder if Krishna has a pair of shoes like that. Or we think about how whatever we're seeing is actually related to the Lord. And that will also come naturally. That would come eventually. Families. And they are Brahmanas because they are born from Brahmana families. But we also see that there are Brahmanas who are born from Brahmana families who do not behave like Brahmanas. And there are a few examples like that from scripture. One example is Ashvatam. So Ashvatam's father was Dronacharya, who was a very devoted personality. He's a Brahmana. He's a teacher. He is a very wise personality. He taught the Pandavas how to fight. He was their teacher. And after the war at Kurukshetra, he actually did something which a Brahmana would never do. He went and, while the Pandavas were asleep, he actually killed the 5 children of the Pandavas. And then he brought the heads to Duryodhana, thinking he would be pleased, but Duryodhana was not at all pleased. Even he thought that this is not something that could ever be done. So sometimes a Brahmana born from a Brahmanical family is not a true Brahmana, but is a Brahmana in name only, and actually doesn't fulfill that position. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also shows us that a true Brahmana or a true saintly person does not necessarily come from a family of Brahmanas. And there's Haridas Thakur. So Haridas Thakur was born from a family who was considered very lowly, not a Brahmanical family. Yet he became the Namacharya. Lord Chaitanya named him the Namacharya. He said, this is the devotee who can chant the best. He chanted thousands and thousands of names every day. And that is all he did, and that's all he needed to do. Srila Haridas Thakur. So that was one example, but I'm sure there are many. Can anyone else think of anything? How did he defeat the caste system? Okay. And I think how many other examples? But that was one. That was only the one I could think of. Srila Haridas Thakur. But basically, that is enough to show us. Do you want to say something, Mr. Yes.
Another lady, low-caste lady. Low-caste lady, to call it down. So one day she was writing fruits for Ram. Right? So she gave Ram the fruits. Lakshman and Ram were there rejected, but Ram ate it. So, depending how much love you got for the Lord, right? Lord will do anything for you, right? Because he is devotee. Right? One devotee, instead of giving the banana, he was giving Krishna banana, the tea. Krishna eat it. But somebody said, Krishna eats the tea. He said, how much it is? Krishna eats it and offer to the devotee. End of the day, depending where you belong, how you belong, what you do, what you do. That's what Prabhupada said. If you start chanting Hare Krishna, there is no system. Right? Follow the rule, good way to do it. No eating, no intersex. Right? That's what Prabhupada said. You can't call yourself a Brahmin, you call yourself a devotee. Right? As we said, Brahmin, how many Brahmins are there in this world? The Brahmins are going in reading 1 million book. What book are reading? What Prabhupada said to the disciples? One word, Krishna. One word. What Madhusudana was thinking, if I'm going to decide, the child will die. So for the whole world, Krishna. That's all. So end of the day, how you take life, what you do in this world, that counts. Right? If you are a rogue, you are a rogue. If you are a saint, you are a saint. Right? So one day, Ram sent to his men, go ask who is my big devotee for me. They got the feet and you see the old man. He prayed 3 times a day. When that they said no, that man is still doing the duty but he's sitting. So end of the day, how you take your life in this world. Right? That's what Prabhupada come here to give mercy to the people, to peace to the people. Right? Jesus lamb to do the same thing. So everybody that's speaking the Lord's message and the children good. Right? So if you're a sinner, if you go to school, the teacher tells you 1 + 1 is 2. You say 1 + 1 is 3, and you're not obeying the word, you can get guru. Then what you're trying to say, you're defeating the teacher. What you're defeating the guru. So what guru says you, if you're not right, you're not right. That doesn't take place. Right? Just like saying I have to have a guru and follow rules and regulations. There is no high caste, there is no low caste. Prabhupada said there is no high caste in law. So following the rules and regulations, meeting people into the good.
May Lord Nishingadev protect us all with remembrance of him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai! And Hasrapati Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai! Gaur Pranande!
Thank you, Ganga-Mata for such an amazing class. And I think it's only befitting and apt that I thank Grace Mataji, firstly for attending our Namahasha, and secondly for bringing such a beautiful and amazing soul into this world. We all are so grateful for Ganga-Mataji and all her efforts and her endeavors and everything that she brings to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So thank you, Mataji. You brought such a sweet, humble, kind soul into this world. A huge round of applause for her. And Ganga-Mataji, your class was absolutely amazing. Ganga-Mataji's love, warmth, kindness, her sincerity just flows out of her when she gives class. So thank you so much, and we all are very inspired. Hari Hari Bol!